what if you are just not getting things done? What if you just cannot actually get things done? You don't have the time, you don't have the space, you don't have the energy. Before you start beating yourself up, I want you to ask yourself, is this just a season of your life? Today, we're going to talk about identifying the season you're in and what to do about it to both be as productive and as gentle on yourself as possible. Welcome to Explore Your Enthusiasm, episode 245 with me, Tara Swiger. I guide you to living an enthusiasm-filled life, which includes doing work you love, spending time with people you love, and feeling good while doing it. I was recently asked a question on Instagram. I feel like I'm in a season in my life where I can't get a lot done. Am I alone? Can you talk more about this? Should I just be okay that it's just a season? First, let me preface today's episode with a little bit of background for those of you who are just joining us for the first time or haven't listened recently. 2 months ago, I didn't have any kids. 5 months ago, I had not parented anyone at all. We became foster parents last September, and on December 17th, a 2-year-old girl came to live with us for an undetermined amount of time. And let me tell you, one of the first thoughts I had about my business when my head came above water and I was able to think about my business several weeks after she came was, I cannot believe I ever spoke about how to get things done to people who had kids because I had no idea. I had no idea what it was like to have a 2-year-old at home. It is insane. In good ways and also in brain space ways. So, this is especially true if you have no warning, you're not expecting a 2-year-old and you're a stranger to the 2-year-old and the 2-year-old has just gone through separations. But even if you've been with them from day one, I know it is bonkers. So here's the truth. I have no idea what you are going through right now. I have no idea what it's like to be in the season of your life that you are in right now. Maybe you have 4 kids. Maybe you have a sick partner. Maybe you just lost a parent or a loved one. Every situation is different, and my situation and way that I deal with things is built on how I work and what I need and what works for me. And sometimes my ideas about this, my philosophy about this don't even work for me. So you're going to need to take what applies to you and just try stuff, experiment, figure out what will work for you. I don't know what will work for you and if this will apply, but just take what applies, offer yourself a lot of grace and forgiveness for not being able to get done what you want to get done right now, because that is just a part of it, and move forward as gently as you can. So in my experience working with a lot of makers and essential oil business owners is that there are different seasons in every single business. Your business is going to go through cycles. So that's the first thing you really have to absorb and accept and live with, is that your business will go through cycles. Not every minute of your whole business will be a creative powerhouse or a production queen. You're going to cycle throughout these seasons during the life of your business. So the first season is, and these are really cyclical, so it doesn't really start anywhere, but idea inspiration. It's when you start to dream and you get inspired and you slurp up Pinterest and blogs and videos and you read business books or you read books about your art or your passion, and you're just so much ideas and inspiration. And I've talked about this before in terms of inhalation. You're breathing in. What comes next is exhalation or creation. After you've inhaled a lot of the inspiration, you need to let it out via creation. So there are a lot of people that are stuck in inspiration mode. They spend all of their time breathing in and they don't ever breathe it out. They don't ever do anything with it. They search Pinterest and they look at recipes and they don't actually do anything. They don't create or make or teach or talk or write or bake. And they're frustrated. It is not good to only breathe in. You must breathe out. It is not good to only learn. You must apply the learning. You're going to feel best when you start to use the inspiration. Now, you may feel frustrated because what you create in the beginning, whether you are teaching classes for the first time, or you're making your craft for the first time, or you're designing for the first time, what you create won't be the quality that you want to create. It won't be as great as the inspiration as you've inhaled. And that's okay. But the creation is still important. The action is how you get better. So this season of your business is where you are starting to turn your ideas into action, into real projects or relationships or products. And as you go through the cycle, many times in the creation cycle, you will be unsatisfied that what you created is not as great as you wanted to, but you have to start doing it. Now, the next season of your business is actually working on what you started. So after the initial super creative part of the process, a lot of our projects kind of have this boring keep going part in the middle where you're just like doing the same thing. So if you have an essential oil business and you learn all the stuff about essential oils and how to teach about people how to use essential oils, a lot of your business is teaching people the same thing about how to actually use their oils. If you have a creative business where you make a product, a lot of your business is production mode, creating the product. If you're a designer, this is the part where you're writing the pattern or you're editing the pattern or you're test knitting a pattern. It just goes on and on. There's a part where you're just like keeping going at the thing that you already had the idea for. It's not new, it's not exciting, but you still have more to do. Some projects are short, they don't really get into this phase, but for most of us, quite a bit of our business is in this season. So this might also be maintenance mode where you're doing the things just consistently. So a lot of the things in my business just run in maintenance mode. Like they're kind of just in a season of maintenance mode. Now they might go through a season of re-inspiration and recreation, and then they enter into maintenance mode again. But I love this quote by Kurt Vonnegut. I feel like this sums up kind of this boring season so well. Kurt Vonnegut said, "Everybody wants to build and nobody wants to do maintenance." And for those of us who are creative or have creative businesses, that is huge. Maintenance is like, blah. When I first started my business, Jay and I have had long talks about how I love to start businesses. And the maintenance mode is like not where all the fun is. So everybody wants to build and nobody wants to do maintenance. Kurt Vonnegut said it, so it's not just you that doesn't like it. Now, the next season in your business in this cycle is rest. So sometimes you might go from creating to new inspiration and new creation for a period. There might be a period of time where you're super inspired, you're creating things, you're finishing things, you're inspired, you're creating things, you're finishing things. But a lot of the time, your field just needs to lie fallow. You may just need to rest before you get the next idea, before you find anything inspiring, before you know what the next step is. And this season is a season that freaks us out. So you know you need to do maintenance. It might be boring, but you know you need to do it. The rest phase, like nobody comes along and says this rest phase is important. So just hush up, sit there, rest. A new idea will come along, I promise. So you may need to rest before you take another breath of inspiration and exhalation. This is a time you may worry that you'll never have another idea and that everything is falling apart and nothing will ever work again and you'll never care about your work again. But it's just part of the process. Since starting my first business in 2006, I've gone through this enough times to know, I promise you, it's part of the process. I like to think about it. I grew up in rural Ohio. The fields are not always planted and growing. There is a winter where they lie fallow, and in like a decades-long cycle, there are years when you let a field lie fallow so that the earth can be replenished, so that the seeds that you plant can be nurtured, and so that they can grow and produce fruit, or veg in the case of rural Ohio. So even though it's frustrating and it's not creative and it's not fun, I mean, it can be fun if you let it be fun, but it's not like fun in that exciting enthusiasm, new things kind of way. It's still part of the process, and it's a vital part of the process. So this is where you fill up your well and you keep yourself healthy throughout this. You don't just let everything go and fall apart and think it's all gone away. You keep taking care of yourself and trust that a little bit of rest is going to lead to a lot of productivity later. So these are the basic seasons in your business, the cycle that your business is going to continue to go through. But there are also seasons of your life. So seasons where you're actually not going to be in any of the above seasons. You're not going to be in creation or inspiration because you're needing to put all of that attention onto another aspect of your life, another project in your life. It may be parenting, it may be a relationship, it may be caretaking of a loved one, it may be you getting well and you getting healthy. One of my captains just broke her wrist, so she needs to just focus on that. That is a season of time in which she can't do her making, right? And that's okay. Having a season where you can't work on your business is part of being a human, because you're not a machine running a business, you're a human running a business. So friend, if you are in a season of not getting stuff done in your business, you are not alone. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the recent season in my business, and I hope that it's helpful, but just remember, you're not alone. I didn't work for 4 solid weeks when we first got our placement, and I did that knowingly. I had prepared to take what I'm calling parental leave from my business when we get new placements, because new placements take a lot of adjusting, and it's like it is being a new mom with a new baby, just the baby isn't a newborn. So now that I'm back to work, my working hours are a tiny fraction of what they used to be. Not only that, but the percentage of my brain free to think about strategy and business plans and ideas and who I want to contact and who I want to talk to about and writing the podcast, a big percentage of that part of my brain is now thinking about temper tantrum strategies and did she have any green vegetables today? And is that a rash or is that a bug bite or is that nothing? So I could be frustrated about that. And to be honest, sometimes when I sit down to work and my brain is focusing on how many hours of sleep did she have last night, and did she have a bowel movement yesterday, and is she really potty trained yet or not, I could be frustrated. I've been frustrated. Or I could feel hopeless about it and think, well, that's it. That's my brain. I used to have this much of my brain to focus on work and now it's all gone. Or I could freak out about it because my income is 80% of how we pay the bills. So my income is important, and oh my gosh, now my brain can't think about income producing activities. Everything's going to fall apart. I could do any of those things. I have done all of those things. But I realize this is only a season in my life. Yes, she'll only be 2 years old for a short season, so that's important to remember. And because we're doing foster care, she may only be with us for an even shorter season. And above that, the overwhelming newness of everything is also a short season. We won't be in this everything is new and requires decision making and requires me to learn something new every minute forever. At some point, we get slightly more used to each other and we have daily routines and we know things about each other. Because even after just a month of being together, so much has become so much easier. A bigger and bigger percentage of my brain and decision-making willpower isn't necessary. It's freed up to think about other things now. So I'm not saying parenting ever becomes easy or that I'll ever get back the overwhelming percentage of my brain that I used to think about my business, but the season of it being this intense is fleeting. And no matter what situation you're in, the fact of the matter is, in the whole scale of your lifetime, the season that you're in is very likely very fleeting. It's big, it's overwhelming if it's new, you just learned about it, you just got a diagnosis, you just had a baby, you just lost a loved one. This season of it being this intense is fleeting. It's hard. Knowing it's fleeting, I don't know if that makes it easier, but it is not going to last forever. This too shall pass. It'll be different later. I'm recording this for my future self and past self as well. So I'm going to be even more honest with you about seasons in my business. Before this season of being a new mom to a toddler, I went through a season of deep depression last year where I could not get my normal work stuff done. Everything was hard. It's just hard. Started with fogginess, then things got physically hard, then things got hopeless, and then is just total apathy. So it's real hard to get things done when you just don't care about anything. And even though that season was so hard, and I never want to repeat it. I never want anybody to experience. It was a season of healing, and it was a season that I needed to go through to get the help that I needed to get. I needed to learn those lessons that I learned in that season about taking care of myself in a new way and at a different level. But it wasn't a season of ideas, of creation, of working. And honestly, it wasn't that restful. Although I did sleep a lot, it wasn't restful. So now that I'm more mentally healthy and I'm moving out of that intense brand new kid season, I realized last week I'm in a season of transition where I'm finding my new rhythm and my new normal. I would love to go right from intense new mom stage to new mom who also is working during her work hours. But instead, it's like I'm in the season of transition where I'm figuring out how to do both things. So as much as I want to just hop back into work mode when I can work, I'm finding that I need to learn how to transition from one mode to the other, from thinking about temper tantrum strategies to thinking about marketing strategies. So this is a season of figuring things out. It's not all that restful. It's not all that inspiring. It's not really productive or creative at all. It's just figuring out. If anything, it's the maintenance mode of gearing back up my brain for what I'm usually thinking about and doing in my work hours. So that's where I'm right now. I know many of you are in an especially hard season. Last year, I heard from many of you who were going through depression and anxiety. Many of you have recently lost parents. One of my dear friends lost her father recently, and many of you are going through a illness, either yourself or a loved one. So I feel like it's just a huge percentage of the people that I talk to are going through something right now. So if you've experienced loss, or you're feeling depression or anxiety, or you're taking care of a sick family member or partner, these are all seasons where your work just isn't a priority. You're kind of stepping out of the cyclical nature of your business because you're in the season of your life. And that's totally okay. I want to tell you again, it's totally okay. Your business will be okay. You haven't ruined your business. You haven't ruined your life by going through this season. We are trying to build businesses that enhance our lives, that live together, that run with our lives, that uphold the kind of life we want to have, that support it, that our business is a support structure for the kind of life we want to live. It's not the end goal. We want businesses that bring enthusiasm and joy and connection into our lives. So those businesses that are going to serve as a support for your life, they need to allow for the fact that that life is going to show up and take over your energy and attention for a while. So I'd like to know if you're in a difficult season right now. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can comment below. If you're listening to the audio version, come over to Instagram and tell me what season of life you're in right now. I'm at Tara Swiger. And if you are not getting stuff done and you're frustrated, I have a couple questions for you to ask yourself. You can write them down if you like, and I'll post them over on my Facebook page. It's facebook.com/Tara Swiger page. So is it a season? Is there a timeline, like an endpoint of the season? Probably. There's probably an endpoint of when it will be this intense. And are you frustrated because you can't do what you want to do? Is that one of the things that's making the season extra hard, is like another layer of frustration? If that's it, keep track of your ideas, make notes, keep writing down when things come to you. That will help you feel like you're still in it, and it will also help it so when you come back to work, you have some things to work with. My other piece of advice is to stick with routines that make you feel like yourself. Shower, walk the dogs, get coffee, brush your teeth, which I don't think I have to tell you, use your essential oils, stretch your body, keep what parts of your routine you can, because it will help you feel more like yourself. Even if it's just like wearing your favorite outfit or putting on, or if you're a new mom, brushing your hair. And then recognize the season that you're in and give yourself grace for being in that season. The last step is to realize when you're in the next season and allow that change to happen. So what I found is that I was telling myself a story about the season of my life I was in. Even as I was starting to move out of that season, I just was like still so kind of tied up in what that season had done to me that I wasn't able to move on and realize like, oh, I'm past that now. So now it's time for me to act and be in a different way. So allow the change to happen. Changes are going to happen whether you allow them or not. You're going to have a lot more ease moving through them if you accept where you are now and accept that it's okay, and then figure out how can I move through this as easily and gracefully as possible. So I hope that this helps you navigate whatever season you're in. I hope it gives you peace of mind if you're going through a rough season right now, that it's not going to be forever. Please let me know you're listening by screenshotting your phone right now as you're listening, and then tag me on Instagram. Post it on your Instagram stories. Be sure you tag at Tara Swiger so I see it. Hashtag explore your enthusiasm. Or if you're listening on iTunes, go leave a review and tell me that it helped. That helps other people find the show, and it lets me know I should keep making these podcasts, even when, like this week, it is so hard to find a time when the house is quiet and I can record. And if you're watching this on YouTube, give the video a thumbs up and leave a comment telling me about what season you're in right now. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have an excellent week and a very enthusiastic, calm season.